Hey everyone, Dr. Alex Ritzy here, downtown Toronto neurostructural chiropractor. And if you are stressed, then you are going to want to watch this video because I'm going to give you 7 great strategies that you can use to help reduce that stress and talk about how something in your body that you might not be aware of might be making your stress a little bit worse. So when I think about stress, I think about it in the following way. There's always stressors coming at our body that are either movement or nutritional, or as most people think about it, psychological or thought. Like whether it's an angry boss or a stressful situation at work or a deadline, I always think about stress as kind of coming at us. And it's not always going to affect everybody in the same way. As you've probably noticed, different people are affected by stress in different amounts. And the way that I think about that or visualize that is the lens through which stress enters the body, or the way that stress gets into the body is kind of like through a lens, like it's going through a pair of glasses. And that the lens that you use is going to greatly determine how that stress affects you. And so I think there's a lot of different ways that you can modify or change that lens that will affect how stress is going to affect your body physiologically. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is what we talk a lot about with our practice members, is how if your nervous system is really cranked up or stressed out, how it can make stress affect your body even more. And the analogy that we use is, if you can imagine you have an amplifier and a guitar, and if you have a very stressed out nervous system, and whether that's from years of poor sleep, not enough movement, poor food, whatever it might be, it's like cranking that amplifier way up, so that when something stresses out the body, like playing the guitar, when that effect goes into the body, it's much more amplified, or in the terms of the guitar string, it's much louder. So if you have a really stressed out nervous system, you probably experienced this. If you went out partying, or you had a poor night's sleep, or you're just in a bad mood, stress is going to affect you a little bit more because your nervous system, it's a little bit more jacked up. And of course, it's going to affect, through the brain-body connection. As you sense and feel that stress coming at you, it affects the brain more, and it affects you more physiologically. So I really like to think about the nervous system affecting you. And so that's when we talk with our practice members that, after we've been seeing them for a while, they often notice that stress is affecting me less. And maybe it's because they're in less pain, they're moving better, they're moving more. But we often think that, hey, if the nervous system and the brain-body connection is better, the signal is actually flowing throughout the entire body, and I mean the nerves are talking to each other, and your body and nervous system is a little bit less stress reactive, stress is probably going to affect you less. And so a huge strategy that you can use that can affect how stress affects you is, of course, neurostructural chiropractic. You have a spine and nervous system that functions better, stress is going to affect you less. Now let's talk about some of the other 6 strategies that are a little bit more lifestyle-based and a little bit less Alex-based. Though, if you need help, I'm here to help. So these are some of the strategies that you can use that are going to affect your nervous system, that are going to not reduce the amount of stress outside your world. That sometimes cannot be avoided. And when it can be, we'll chat about that in some upcoming episodes, but change the way the stress gets into the body and change that lens. So the first thing, a great strategy is mindfulness or meditation. And I don't think that people should get hung up here in terms of thinking of like, I have to sit like a yogi for 20 minutes and focus on my breath, and I have to clear the brain and be perfect. Meditation is really challenging. So the way that I would explain it to you is, if you can find 1 breath, 10 breaths, or 10 minutes in your day where you're able to just focus on what's going on right now. So if it's just and forgetting that you're on Facebook Live and you've just taken 1 minute of mindfulness to focus on where the body is at, I think that's a really great strategy. And so if you've never done any mindfulness or meditation before, there's tons of great YouTube resources. Our Reset curriculum, if you want to download that, that's there. You can come to our workshop. But it's as simple as closing your eyes, focusing on what it feels to breathe. And if different thoughts come into your head, just letting them pass. Actually, I can't believe I'm forgetting this, but like apps like Headspace, where they talk about thoughts passing on the highway. Headspace is a great download. I think if you don't have it on your phone, go download it now. It's free. It's great. The next strategy that you can use to manage the stress that affects your body is, of course, sleep. Now, not everybody needs 8 hours. Young teenagers are probably going to need closer to 10 or 12. Some older adults can maybe get away with 6, but you have to figure out what is right for you and do that. And be as consistent as you can be. And that is going to make sure that every single night, when your body is trying to recover and sleep and balance out the nervous system and the chemicals that are inside of it that make it function, it has enough time to do that. Sleep isn't just about sleeping for 8 hours because that's what some scientists told you. That's the time when your body resets and recuperates, and it needs a certain number of hours in order to balance and heal. If you don't give it that time, then you're going to have parts of your body that go unhealed or unreset, and that's really going to affect your ability to manage sleep. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about in terms of a great strategy to manage your stress adaptability is a mindset issue, and it comes down to journaling. So if you looked at our Instagram post from today, I talked about the idea of gratitude, and I think it works in the same way that meditation can work. It's a bit of a mindset change, and instead of this physiological change where you're going to get some sort of physiological reset from the meditation, when we're talking about journaling, you're going to get more of a metaphysical change, like your brain energy or your aura, if you will. That will change a little bit. So when I talk about journaling, what I specifically mean is either writing out your thoughts or going through a scripted process of writing down certain things or having certain goals, with the end goal being trying to get your mindset in the best possible, most positive place. So for my morning journaling, I go through a couple things. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for: an opportunity, a relationship, and something right now. And doing that really resets my brain and thus resets my nervous system, so that I have a bit more perspective. And I think it's very tough to be stressed or angry when you are grateful at the same time. Something I used to do was kind of write out for a page what my thoughts are and what I was feeling. I found that too time consuming, so I don't do that anymore, but I think that can be a really, really useful strategy as well. Something else with journaling is if you have a mantra, that's something that you can also write down, and that'll be very dependent on what your values are. So in the past, right now, my mantra is kind of be grateful, have perspective, you're on track, I'm doing an okay job, and be patient. Those are the 4 things that I'm thinking about that are my mantra. I write them out a few times, and that just gets me into the right mindset for the rest of my day. And that works really well for me. I don't know if it's going to work well for you, but in terms of journaling and getting my body a bit more ready to handle the stressors of everyday life, that really helps me because it brings me back to center, if you will. Another strategy that you can use with journaling is recounting your values. And when I say values, I mean the most basic principles that you believe in. Maybe it's love, family, altruism, whatever it is. Again, resetting your brain, getting it in the right mindset so that to go throughout your day, you're going to have a better idea of what is important to you and what is not. And so I think this can be really, really valuable when you break it down to the most basic core principle, that if you are most invested in your family and say your health, and something else comes along and you're getting very stressed out about it, and it's not one of your basic core principles, it might be that little cue to I probably don't need to stress about this too much because it really isn't that important to me. And it's very easy to get caught up in things, but go back to your basic values. And if you need more of an explanation on this idea, check out the Reset curriculum. It will probably give a little bit of good perspective in terms of how to set your values and figure out what they are. The obvious thing for making sure your nervous system is in the best possible health and the most able to adapt to stress is get some exercise, whether it's walking, moving, hitting it in the gym. You got to move. I'm probably going to say this 60,000 more times over my career. Oh man, it's got so sunny and nice. 60,000 more times over my career. You got to move. Your nervous system is going to be reset to a greater degree. You're going to be way more stress tolerant. There's going to be so many good hormones and chemicals released. Move. Another cool strategy, which I've tried a few times, is to go for a float. So if you haven't gone for a float, what it is it's a sensory deprivation tank, where you step into a soundless, lightless, salt water filled tank where you basically float, and you can choose to meditate or whatever. It unfortunately costs money, but it might be a really good strategy for you if you're having a stressed out week to sit there and go do nothing. And I have found that the float experience, while I've only done it, I think I've done it twice, can be a really, really good reset for your body, and can really bring those stress levels down, and will have a bunch of other good consequences like better sleep. And then the last strategy I was going to talk about was mindset. And I think that in terms of getting your mindset right for the day, it's going to make you much more able to handle whatever stressors come at you. And so one thing is, I think, to recognize when there's a stressful situation, when something is stressing you out, to first identify that this is stressful, that this has the potential to affect my body, but I'm going to consciously make the choice not to let it do so. And this won't work for everybody, but for me, my saying is, it is what it is. And so, we recently went through a very crappy situation at our apartment where we had a flood, and it's a first world problem in that, like, we still have a nice apartment we can live, but of course there's stress involved with it, with getting the floors changed, with dealing with insurance. And even though this weekend it was affecting my sleep a little bit, and just that little mindset change, changing that lens that I was looking at the situation, remembering the perspective and saying, it is what it is, it's all going to work out. It's amazing how much that little saying can help on the situation. Now, of course, if you're going through something very stressful and traumatic, and like maybe it's an abusive situation at work, that might not work as well, but it's probably better than the opposite of not doing it and getting discouraged, and not using a strategy to help improve yourself. And I think that's the toughest time to make a good choice to help yourself. So good luck with that. It is challenging, but I know you guys can do it. And in terms of mindset, I go back to the idea of mindset training. And this is, working at it day after day, using a lot of these strategies, using your journaling, being introspective and being self-aware. And the more self-aware you are, the more you know what's important to you in terms of your values, your goals, and what you really want from life, and knowing what to get stressed out over and what not to. I think that's going to help you with a lot of the that comes through our day, and we'll be able to change that lens a little bit in terms of how it affects you stress-wise. So I hope that this was valuable. It's a good recap of some of the 7 strategies that I use, and I think that you guys should use as well, because I'm biased, to help better manage stress. Now, if you find that you are doing a lot of these things, that you're trying your best, but the meditation's not working, the sleep's not working, you can't exercise because you're injured, that's where you probably want to seek professional help. Or if you don't live near us, or you're looking for something that's not neurostructural chiropractic, let us know. We can hook you up with a great practitioner in your area, or we'll do our very best. And if you'd like to come in for a complimentary case review, you just let us know, and I will get back, or my team will get back to you as soon as we can. So that's all I've got today, guys, for Lunch and Learn. If you have any questions, please send me an email or write a message or comment on the Facebooks or the Instagrams. And if there's anything else, just let me know how I can help. I hope everyone has a fantastic, fantastic Monday, and I'll see you guys later or next week for our next Lunch and Learn TV. And if you haven't signed up yet for our Reset Workshop, there's a couple spots left, and I hope to see you next Wednesday for sure. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful day.